Hello, in this video, we're going to review solving division equations. Before we do that, we're going to go over what that means. To solve an equation means to figure out what the value of x is. And an equation is a math sentence that has an equal sign. And as you can see, this has an equal sign. Now, we're going to solve this equation the same way that we solve all equations, and that is by doing the inverse or the opposite. So to do that, we're going to first identify the variable. The variable is an x, and I write that down. We're going to identify what is happening to the variable. Now the variable is being written as a fraction over 3. And fractions are another way, especially in algebra, of showing division. So this is read as x divided by 3. So x is being divided by 3. And the inverse or opposite of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3. So I box it in, and this is how we're going to go about solving this equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the equation so that I have room to solve it. So I find the variable, it's x, it's right here. I notice it is being divided by 3, so I will do the inverse and multiply by 3. Now, on the left side, this is a fraction. So when I multiply by 3, I'm going to write that 3 as a fraction. On the right side, the 9 is not a fraction, so I can just write my 3 as a 3. But I'm going to follow the rule that is the equality property of multiplication, which says whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. If I multiply by 3 on the left, I must multiply by 3 on the right. Now, what happens here is on the left side, the 3's are going to cross cancel. And when they cross cancel, the 3 divided by 3 is going to become a 1. And then this 3 divided by 3 is also going to become a 1. On the right side, you have 9 times 3 is 27. And then on the left, you have a bunch of multiplying by 1s. 1 times 1x, and 1 times 1 is 1x and 1. And then 1x divided by 1 is 1x, and then 1 times x is just x. Basically, if you take the x and multiply and divide by 1s, you're going to be left with an x. The equal sign comes straight down, and the 27 is all by itself, so it just follows. The answer here is just x equals 27. Now, please be aware that all this stuff here, where I showed the answer to the cross canceling, is not actually required. It can go away. All that you're actually going to have to do is cross out 3's because it works the same way every time. It's a pattern. We can do a shortcut. We know the 3's are going to cross out. We know they're going to become 1's. We don't have to actually multiply and divide by the 1. The 3's cancel out. 1 times x is just x. So let's do this with another problem where I don't even do that step. I'm just going to cross out the inverses. So the first step is identify the variable. The variable is a y. What is happening to the y? It is being divided by 6. I write divided by 6. And then to solve, I'm going to do the inverse of dividing by 6, which is to multiply by 6. And I'm going to follow this to solve my equation. I'm going to rewrite the equation for organization. And here is the y on the left. It is being divided by 6, and the inverse of dividing by 6 is to multiply by 6. I'm going to make it a fraction, 6 over 1, since I have a fraction on the left. On the right, I have only a 9. I do not need to make that a fraction. I can just multiply by 6. On the left, 6 and 6 are going to cross cancel. Basically, they're inverses. They can cross out. It's what they do. And then 1 times y is just y. On the right side, 9 times 6 is 54, and we are done with that problem. We're going to do one more example, and then I'll go over steps. So in our third example, I need to identify the variable. In this case, it is an m. And I identify what is happening to the m. It is being divided by -5. So I write divided by -5. The inverse of dividing by -5 would be to multiply by -5. And this is what I'm going to follow and organize to solve my equation. So I'm going to rewrite the equation so I have room to do all this extra writing. Also, because I am going to be crossing things out and doing some math, I want to rewrite it so that my original, on every problem, I can see the original. It's untouched. Now, since we are dividing by -5, on the left, I'll do the inverse and multiply by -5. And since it's a fraction, I'll make it a fraction. And if I multiply by -5 on the left, I must multiply by -5 on the right. That is the equality property of multiplication. On the left side of the equal sign, the -5's cancel out. They're inverses. It's what they do. And then 1 times m is m. On the right side, 8 times 5 is 40. The signs are the same. The answer is positive 40. So let's review how to do these problems, or how to solve division equations. So let's say we have one more example problem. Our first step is going to be to identify the variable. The variable is an x. The second step is to determine what is happening to the variable. It is the x is being divided by 4. Step 3, do the inverse or opposite to both sides of the equation. So I'm going to rewrite and do the inverse, which is 4 over 1. I do need to apologize for that being written differently. In the 7th grade class that I am teaching now, we will not be doing them as fractions like that, but it will be written as x over 4. So you would just need to copy and paste and rewrite it. Then the inverse of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. The 4's will cross cancel. Whatever you do to one side, multiplying by 4, you have to do the other, multiply by 4. On the left side, the 4's cross cancel. 1 times x is x. And on the right side, 3 times 4 is 12. The last step is to solve, which is what I just kind of went ahead. And that is how you solve division equations. Thank you.